Yeah, I've been injured before the game.
At Nebraska?
In Michigan State.
How'd you get hurt, Michigan State?
I hit with a piece of chair. It hit me in my arm.
Did it cut you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I had to get taped up before the game.
This is Christian now. We're all in here. It's Michigan State. When he was talking that stuff, and he took the clock off of the wall and said, broke the clock over his head.
His helmet?
I didn't say anything about a helmet. Put him on their ass, Big Eight style, baby. Smash math football.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
I just feel like people are not talking about enough the incomplete passing. This blows my mind.
Why does it blow your mind?
Because that's a strategy to the end of the game of either spiking the ball or, hey, find something to stop the clock.
Now you can't do it.
You can't just stop the clock. That's a part of football. It's always been a part of football.
Right.
You can't just
You're
changing the end of games completely.
Yeah, so what?
Why would you do that?
I don't think you have to stress that one too much. Don't even stress it. It won't happen.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. It's time for Outside the Box with Lincoln Stars head coach Rocky Russo and Lincoln Stars broadcaster Joel Norman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Good to be back with you, chatting Lincoln Stars hockey here on Outside the Box, being brought to you by Raising Cane's. I'm Joel Norman, joined by the head coach of the Lincoln Stars, Rocky Russo, and our first show in 3 weeks here, Rocky. A little bit busy in February, weren't we? 11 games in the shortest month of the year. Certainly added up, but nice to be back. How you doing tonight?
You know what's nice? These new headphones that they got here. I like these.
A little
more comfortable. Yeah, they're good.
You got a little bit of an upgrade here.
I don't have a big head, right? And with no hair, I don't get any cushion up top. So I like these.
A nice change of pace here. And we come back here as a busy weekend coming up for the Stars. 2 home games. Nice to have some home games because it felt like there weren't a ton. I think it was only 4 in general in the month of February. But this past Saturday was the first of now 4 consecutive games can be played at the Icebox. And this coming Friday is going to be a ton of fun. $2 night at the Icebox as Lincoln hosts Sioux City. So PBR, Busch Light, mini margs, hot dogs, and popcorn are all $2 for that one. And then on Saturday, it's a Buddy Pass night as 7 Star members have an extra ticket they can turn in to bring another family member to the game. And that one hardly needs any promotion either as the Waterloo Blackhawks come to town to take on the Stars. So, Rocky, a couple of exciting opponents. Should be a couple of fun nights. Getting into that stretch in the season, the crowd's coming together, a lot of big games, and it should be a lot of fun here this weekend at the Icebox.
Yeah, we've got, is it college night on Friday? Is that what that's
$2 night, yeah.
We've had such great support from the Husker students and the student athletes as well. It's been awesome to have that kind of crossover grow in the last year, and that's a lot to do with DP here and 93.7 The Ticket. They've done such a good job of promoting the Stars, and they obviously are big supporters of Husker athletics. So it was a natural kind of meld between the two, and I know that our guys are out supporting a lot of their athletics on whenever they can, whether it be basketball, volleyball, and football in the fall, and hopefully baseball coming up here in the spring. So it's an exciting time.
Yeah, really exciting. And we're in that part of the season where we're heading into the final 2 months. Today, the last day of February, we head into March and then April. And before we know it, we're going to be talking about postseason hockey really soon. But right now, a big stretch here coming up for the Stars. You guys have got this nice chance to get back into your rhythm, so to speak, after February. A couple 3-game weekends, a Tuesday game in there. How nice is it to get back into that rhythm? Because I imagine after you spend a whole year getting used to that with guys, it's nice to reestablish it again.
Yeah, I mean, you play the schedule that you're dealt, and obviously we didn't come out of February the way that we had hoped. But it's for a 60-minute game, it always comes down to a couple plays, and I didn't think we played bad hockey in the last couple weeks, but we're not burying enough chances. We're gripping the stick a little bit too tight, and I told the guys this morning when things are bad, they're never as bad as they seem. And when things are going good, they're never as good as you feel they are. So, for us, it's just kind of getting refocused and looking forward to an opportunity to play in the box.
Yeah, it seems like as you mentioned, it's just been a few stretches of some games, maybe a couple minutes, maybe a couple of bad hops that have really doomed the games. I think, over the past 6 games, there's been a lot more good than bad with the Lincoln Stars, despite the results of those games. You agree?
Yeah, and I obviously, my job is to win hockey games, and so I'm not doing a great job right now, but we focus on our process and believe in our identity, and we also believe that when you do things the right way for 60 minutes, you tend to get the results that you want, and I think right now the message is we're doing things most of the time the right way, but when we make a mistake, it seems to get magnified when things aren't going well, and then you don't get the hops that maybe you're getting when you're playing well and you're scoring. I mean, we've run into some hot goalies, but we've done that to ourselves a little bit. We chip pucks in and we hit the referee, and it's just one of those things where you kind of can't buy a break when you're in a little bit of a skid. But I believe in the group and the character that's in that room. I said that after the game on Saturday, and I'll reiterate it now. And I look at a team like Madison. They finished 500 last year, and they made a run to the Clark Cup final, and so we're still very much in the mix. We still sit in third place in the Western Conference. We know we have a big stretch of games here to end the season, and we want to do everything we can to put ourselves in good playoff position.
Nice thing you talk about looking for some bounces, looking for some momentum here coming up is these home games. I think that's going to provide a lot of momentum because the Ice Box has been a really tough place for everyone who's come to it to play. There hasn't been one game, I think, at the Ice Box where we've said, the Stars just were not at it here tonight. Maybe one, maybe if that. But in most every time, it's been a really tight game, and more often than not, the Stars have come out on top at home.
Yeah, we always, we appreciate the opportunity to play in front of our fans. We know what a great advantage that is, and our crowds have been spectacular all year long. That's a tip of the hat to our front office staff for doing a great job of selling that. And in turn, it's, last year's team drummed up a lot of momentum for our organization here in Lincoln. Things were down for a few years. We're trending back in the right direction. We're looking forward to another opportunity to play in postseason hockey here in Lincoln. And so, we're not where we want to be, but we're heading in that direction, and that's exciting.
We're chatting Lincoln Stars hockey here on 93.7 The Ticket. Of course, our show is always being brought to you by Raising Cane's. Love to have you jump in on the show with us here. Give us a call on the Honda of Lincoln hotline, 402-464-5685, or text us on that same number, the Sartor Heyman text line, 402-464-5685. I'm Joel Norman, alongside the head coach of the Lincoln Stars, Rocky Russo. And Rocky, a phrase you use a lot when you talk about the Stars is that this is a process-driven organization. Well, explain to fans, peel back the curtain a bit here. When the Stars are operating at their peak efficiency, what does that process look like?
It's fast hockey. It's north-south hockey. It's details, right? Our sticks are in the right place. Our angles are where they need to be. We're defending with intent. We're not turning pucks over in the gray areas. And when I say that, I mean 5 feet on each side of both blue lines. We're responsible and we're hard to play against. We're defending in transition. We're finishing our checks. We're capitalizing on our special teams. And we make it difficult for our opponents. And when we get away from that, even just a little bit, then you see some holes in our game. And that's always a challenge when you coach young men like this. They're talented and they want to make plays, and we want to give them the freedom to do that within the parameters of the way we want to play. And it's not because I feel like I know better than anybody else or because my rules are the way they need to be. It's because I know the importance of all 5 guys being on the same page when they're on the ice. And it's a extremely challenging game to play when you're not communicating with each other during the course of your shift, when you're not running your routes and you're not doing the things that your other 4 guys on the ice expect you to do. Then things get a little bit discombobulated. And so for us, it's an up and down situation right now. And like I said, we haven't been playing bad. We really haven't. We lost, you go all the way back to that Des Moines game. We had over 50 shots. We had a ton of chances. We were in their zone for like 28 minutes with puck possession, which is an insane number. And we only, we score 3 goals and have to score with the net empty just to get it to overtime. So, we have to do a better job of bearing our chances, and guys know that, but that gets magnified when things aren't going well. You're gripping the stick too tight. You don't bury the first one, and then the doubt starts to creep in a little bit. And so right now for us, it's just about keeping the guys in a good mindset and letting them know that we are still the same team that's won 25 games this year, that's had success and the majority of the season, and we can continue to do so as long as we all buy in and make sure that our culture and identity come first.
There was a stretch earlier in the season when we were talking about, we need to get more shots on goal, and that's something the Stars have done in recent weeks. In fact, over this winning streak, this tough stretch here recently, it's I think 5 of the 6 games the Stars have outshot their opponent. But you were talking about this, about the quality of shots that they need to get, following up some of those shots as well. What's been some of the work done to improve on that here heading into this weekend?
Well, you look at, like, we looked at our shot chart last Saturday, and we dominate the first period. I think shots are 15-6, and they've got 4 grade A's. We have 1, and the majority of our shots came from above the tops of the circles. So that's telling me that we're doing our job offensively in the sense of we're winning battles down low, we're getting pucks low to high, and then we're not getting those second chances. So either our forwards aren't getting to the net, or they are getting to the net, but they're not putting themselves in good positions. So that's been, something that we've focused on early on in the week. We're going to continue to focus on, and then our transition defense has to get a little bit better. And that one is one that makes me want to pound my head against the wall, because I know the importance of defending in transition in the USHL. It's an uphill climb if you're not willing to pick guys up coming back to your net, and you can go back in the last 6 games and point at all the odd man rushes that we've given up and the amount of goals that we've given up in those particular situations, and that becomes frustrating. And when the guys are not playing up to their expectations, then that's generally what you see is we're not working as hard back to our own net as we need to. And despite the fact that we're sitting in third, I still believe that every team we play really gets up for us, and they want to prove that they can beat the Lincoln Stars, and we have to find a way to be ready on a nightly basis to combat that.
I think the exciting thing for fans, despite despite the results recently, is you can see the determination of the players. We saw that Saturday. Guermon Yavash dropping the gloves. It had been a while since the Stars have been in a fight. What did you take away from that, seeing him do that and trying to make a difference there on a team he's been with for a couple of weeks?
Well, that's part of why we brought Yavi in, not to fight, obviously, but just because we knew that he was willing to under the right circumstances. And the best part is he saw that was a good time to maybe go, and they were already short D, and he could fight one of their D, and they're both out for 15 minutes. And so, he takes that opportunity, and it really got the crowd going. And unfortunately, we weren't able to capitalize on it, which was disappointing. But, you look at what happened in that game, odd man rush off a bad bounce off the referee, power play goal off of a perfectly defended pass, that just the hop you get there. I mean, that pass could be made 1,000 times and that hop would never happen again. But, I do think our guys are, for the most part, playing hard, and I do know that they want to win, and I do know they're committed. It's just kind of getting through that mental lull of okay, guys, we got to break through here and win one and get back in the right column, and then we can move forward.
USHL. Oh, let's go ahead, Harrison.
Yeah, we got one for the text line here. Number is 5195. This is a little on a brighter note. Your former assistant, Georgia Lewis, is working for Penn State now. Do you stay in touch with them? And if so, how is the young man doing? From Lois Offerman.
Well, since I know exactly who that's from, and it's not Lois Offerman, I'm sure that's from a fine young man named Harrison Gates. Harrison probably hasn't talked to George, but I have. George is doing fantastic. He loves coaching college hockey in the Big Ten. Penn State's currently ranked 10th in the country. He's got beautiful twins that are just recently turned 9 months old, Frankie and Hudson, and they're doing fantastic. And I couldn't be prouder of George for his opportunity there to step into to college hockey, and he's been a great addition to the Penn State program. And George and I were able to work together in Philadelphia, work together in Amarillo, and then obviously work together here in Lincoln. And he's a very close friend of mine and somebody that I do nothing but root for and wish the best for. So I'm really happy for George and what's going on there in State College.
Really fun to follow guys, not just the players, the coaches too, when they move on from the Stars as well. And really cool to see the success that he's had. I imagine for you, that's something like that. It's probably cool to check on as well, to see how things were going there. But I mean, it's neat. It's neat to keep an eye on these guys overall. I really enjoy it. And
I keep in touch with George. I even, David Nyes, the assistant in Tri-City, worked for me in Amarillo, and we chat on occasion. And I spend, I get home from the games on Friday and Saturday night, and I surf the scores in our league and in the other junior leagues, but I make sure and check all the college scores and check to see how our guys, whether it be Lincoln Stars alums or Amarillo Bulls alums, even back to now, I'm probably most of my guys in Philly are seniors or finishing up. I've got a bunch of guys that are seniors this year that played for me in Amarillo. So just tracking their progress and seeing how they're doing and getting to catch up with them on occasion. I talked to some of the guys that played here last year. I talked to Joe LeMay quite a bit. I talked to Dalton Norris quite a bit. And I just check in with the other guys, shoot them a text, or they shoot me a text. And more than anything, I'm watching from afar and just making sure that they're doing what they need, and shoot them a congratulatory message if they have a good game, or if I see that maybe they're struggling a little bit, try to give them a little bump and let them know that that things are going to be okay. And so, that's part of being a coach. The relationship doesn't end when they leave, and that becomes a challenge because I've been doing this 18 years and it's hundreds of players. And so it's hard to stay in touch with all those guys. But I always love to hear from them when they reach out, and now I've got guys married and with kids and, professionals, and some guys are coaching, some guys are working, and everybody's doing wonderful. And that's very rewarding part of this process.
Yeah, to see them grow in so many ways, not just as hockey players, but as human beings too. I mean, Rocky, the hockey world is so large, but I imagine, for you, it almost feels smaller because of that. Like you said, you're many years, with different types of guys in different types of situations.
The hockey world, as much as you'd think that it's a big place, is really small. And it doesn't take long to know somebody that knows somebody. And I think that's what's so cool about this field is, everybody wants to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And this is the greatest game on earth as far as I'm concerned. And it's a privilege to be able to coach it, specifically here in Lincoln for the Stars. And you get to meet great people, and you continue to develop those relationships, and they're important to you as you move forward.
Yeah, really exciting to see stuff like that as well. We're chatting Lincoln Stars hockey here on 93.7 The Ticket, being brought to you by Raising Cane's. Just had a text in about former Stars assistant George Lewis. You can text us as well. Again, the Starter Heyman text line 402-464-5685. As we mentioned, the Lincoln Stars with a couple of huge games coming up this weekend. Sioux City comes to town on Friday for $2 night, college night at the Icebox. Don't want to miss out on that one. And then on Saturday, Waterloo comes in for the first time since last season in the postseason. So fans haven't had a chance to see Waterloo yet this season at the Icebox. That's a good team. They're right above the Stars in the standings, kind of within striking range. They kind of jump ahead of them if the Stars can get some points here over the next few weeks. But boys, a lot of these teams have loaded up here. This is a tough, as we always expect it to be, Rocky. This is a tough Western Conference, and I think we saw that in some of the trades this week as well.
Loaded up is an understatement. Waterloo was good at the beginning of the year, but they don't even resemble what they started with. I mean, between Matika and Caden Brown and Nate Benoit and now Garrett Brown, they have added some huge players to their lineup, and that's something that we did try to make some additions, and ultimately there was certain situations that maybe there was a player available, but the price tag was astronomical, and the Alex Bump trade to Tri-City was a perfect example of that. I think Alex Bump is a great hockey player, but with 9 goals on the sheet going into the trade deadline, it was hard to give up 7 or 8 assets, and Tri-City was able to do it because they've been after this a lot longer than we have, and they've got, you know, a bit of a stable of additional draft picks that they've collected over the years that they're able to use. But I mean, Waterloo has spent, I don't know what they have left. I don't know, like the amount of draft picks they've given up, and you know, potential returning players and everything. They better win the Clark Cup this year, because if they don't, the experiment was a massive failure, and I can't even imagine the amount of pressure that they feel right now with everything they've done. And their team is loaded on paper, but you know, you've got to put it together, and there's just one puck. So, you know, there's an awful lot of guys there that want to play on the power play and quite honestly deserve to, but you know, they're not going to get those chances. And then it comes to managing personalities and egos and getting everybody to buy in. And that's a whole new set of circumstances that Matt's going to have to manage there. But, you know, I'd welcome that problem, I guess. But, you know, we still believe, even though Fargo's added Mellenbacher and then Zam Plant today, and, you know, we still believe that we can play with any team in this conference. And, you know, but again, our margin of error is small because the talent on some of those teams is top to bottom is really, really impressive. So you've got to make sure and live that process and live that identity and not veer from it.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I think for fans, though, when you look at the teams, you've seen them make some moves, and you see the Stars. The roster has been remarkably consistent for the most part this season. I think that's a vote of confidence in the current group that's here. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously we added Donnie, and he was a big addition to our decor. It was something that we felt that we needed, and he's been great since he's been here. We added German, but you know, German was an important piece of physicality and size that we felt we were missing up front. But with the exception of that, we haven't done a whole lot. You know, we made the Carson Bidens trade early on in the year. Unfortunately, kind of didn't pan out. Carson's an awesome kid, and he's having a lot of success now in North Iowa, and he's going to go to Princeton next year. And so, you know, at the end of the day, it's going to work for him because he's going to play power play in the North American League for the rest of the year. But we haven't done much else besides that, and that's because we believe in the group that we picked out of training camp. And you know, I know that the sexy thing to do is to make all these trades and to add all these pieces, but you know, it can easily backfire, and you could spend all your assets and guys don't mesh in your locker room, and your culture gets affected, and then things don't work, or it does work and you win a Clark Cup and you're laughing and you're willing to say, hey, like, we're going to take it on the chin for a couple years because we sold it all this year, but it's worth it because we won a championship. So, you know, those are hard decisions that you have to make, and you've got to really believe in your core group of guys that they're willing to accept somebody new into the room at this point in the year.
We talked a few weeks ago about some trades you did or didn't make in your previous parts of your career. Have you ever had a trade really backfire?
Oh yeah.
I wondered if there might be one or two that maybe that was the case.
Yeah, you know what? Like you when you take the best player off of a bad team, sometimes it really works and sometimes it doesn't. And I remember a few years, well, more than a few years, gosh, it was probably 15 years ago. When I was in Youngstown, we traded for the leading scorer in the league, and he was playing on the last place team in our division, and he was just dynamite. He scored every night when he played against us, and he came to Youngstown, and I think he had 2 points in 19 games. He just couldn't figure it out, and he's a great kid, right? It wasn't that, it didn't work. And you know, you do what you hope you can do, and you try to make the best decisions that you can. There's no foolproof answer. And the hard part is hindsight is, you know, you can certainly sit back after the fact and say, well, we should have done that, or we shouldn't have done this, or, you know, but in the moment, you're trying to make the best decision that you can for the organization. You're evaluating everything you know about a player and where he fits, and you know, there's always those things that you don't know, the variables that you're not going to find out until the kid walks through the door. And you have to do your best to try to hope that you can make those things work. And there's certainly times when it backfires on you.
What's the biggest challenge for a team who brings in a star player from a team near the bottom of the standings?
Well, I mean, Waterloo brought in the Matika kid early. And that was, for them, you're getting value out of a guy if he's going to play 35 games, right? He's a 3rd round NHL draft pick. He's 6'3", he can skate. Like, you're going to figure that one out probably, but
Unless something really goes wrong.
yeah, but you know what? It's like, can they pick up on your systems quickly? Can they mesh in your culture? Can they make friends right away? Can they get comfortable in a new billet house? And there's a lot of maturity that is necessary for a kid to make that adjustment quickly. And, we've got that initial trade deadline, the USA Hockey trade deadline, that's February 6th. That buys you a few more weeks, probably 6-7 more games. If you make a trade yesterday, you're getting 15 games out of a kid, plus the playoffs. And if it takes him 5 or 6 games to get comfortable, and he doesn't really score much, and then you don't really take it very far in the playoffs, then are all those assets that you gave up and that returning player that you gave up really worth it at the end of the day? And we made that trade last year. We made that trade for Killian Keeker-Olsen, and we traded away a really good player in Christian Kosis. And now there were some other factors at play there that made us make that deal. But I think if Nick and I could go back, we would make that deal again. And not because we wouldn't want Christian here. I love Christian. I thought he was a great kid, but Killian was a 20-year-old. He was a veteran center that we needed. He scored a big goal in Game 3 of the first round playoff series. So you got your value out of a guy like Killian. And so if you're going to make a deal, you just hope that they're able to make the impact quickly, because if they don't, then your fans are impatient and his teammates are impatient, and that puts a tremendous amount of stress on a player.
Absolutely. And speaking of the trades here, Tyler Dunbar, who was acquired recently, he's going to be joining us here coming up. Adam Kleber as well. Just a couple of quick thoughts on them from their work this season, Rocky.
I mean, Klebs has been here since day one, and he's a 16-year-old underager in this league, and he's incredibly mature for his age. He's just scratching the surface of the ability that he has, and I expect him to be a 1st or 2nd round NHL draft pick, and when it's time. But he's been, like any 16-year-old, dealing with the adjustment to junior hockey and doing a wonderful job of it. And I just have so much respect for Klebs and the way that he approaches it every day. He's got a great dry personality that the guys love, and he just comes to work every day. And with a young kid like that, you never know. Are they going to be able to manage playing with guys that are 3-4 years older than them and being away from home for the first time, doing their high school online? Like there's so many variables for a guy like him. And then Donnie played in Muskegon for so long, and he loved his billets. He told me that, and he was really comfortable there. And so making that change in your last year of junior before you go to college is a challenge. And some guys are so comfortable where they're at that they don't want to step out of their comfort zone. But he's been a great addition to our group. He gives us flexibility on the back end. We needed another left stick, and he brought that to the table, and he's reliable and responsible. He makes good plays, but more than anything, like the second he walked in the room, he fit with the guys. His personality's great. He's super mature because he's played so long, and he just, there was a connection with him and our team right away. And it's funny, he's only been here for, I don't know, a month maybe now, but it feels like he's been here all year, which is really cool and comfortable for the guys.
Can't really put a price on that either. That's something that just doesn't usually come naturally. Well, we're excited to have them coming on here next. A pair of defensemen joining us. We'll take a quick break. This is Outside the Box, being brought to you by Raising Cane's on 93.7 The Ticket.
I know that a lot of times, Mom, it might not seem like I'm listening to you, but I am. I hear you. And what you say really does matter to me.
I mean, let's be honest. No kid likes rules, but I get why we have them. I hear you, and I know it's because you care.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Sponsored by DHHS and aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People City Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
I always had to be so good, no one could ignore me. Carve my path with data and drive. But some people only see who I am on paper. The paper ceiling, the limitations from degree screens to stereotypes that are holding back over 70 million stars. Workers skilled through alternative routes rather than a bachelor's degree. It's time for skills to speak for themselves. Find resources for breaking through barriers at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
The captain, Vershawn Jackson.
Hey, I've been injured before the game.
At Nebraska?
In Michigan State.
How'd you get hurt, Michigan State?
I hit with a piece of chair. It hit me in my arm.
Did it cut you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I had to get taped up before the game.
This is Christian now. We're all here. It's Michigan State. We're talking that stuff, and he took the clock. Dad broke the clock over his head.
His helmet?
I can say anything about it. Put him on the no.
Yeah,
We got the baby. Smash, football.
A good reason to have a smart. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 the ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their age, the way they speak, Would you notice the 16-year-old who got his first
little sisters?
or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? Or a 14-year-old girl who signs up to every after-school activity not to make friends, just to get something to eat? Or a retiree who fell ill and had to choose
between getting medicine.
and Native Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass every day never knew were hungry. I am hunger in America.
It can be hard to recognize. Learn why hungry in America.org. Brought to you by Food America. 202 Bank Strong, the Ad Council.
I'm Chris Jackman. I served in the United States Air Force and in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is "My job is people, everyone is my business." But unfortunately, in that year, I would lose my home there. Lance Corporal Adam Jackman. The majority of veterans who are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
The dangers of secondhand smoke are well known. But what about secondhand aerosol, which is created when using e-cigarettes? Science already shows that secondhand aerosol can contain nicotine, heavy metals, and cancer-causing agents. Eliminating exposure to secondhand aerosol is an important step to keeping everyone safe. Breathe easier knowing the facts.
For help quitting, call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
It's time for Outside the Box. with Lincoln Stars head coach Rocky Russo and Lincoln Stars broadcaster Joel Norman. 93.7 The Ticket and theticket.fm.
Back again here on Outside the Box for segment number two. Our show is always being brought to you by Raising Cane's. I'm Joel Norman, chatting Lincoln Stars hockey, and we're joined now by a pair of defensemen for this team, Adam Kleber and Tyler Dunbar. And Tyler's first appearance on the show. Welcome here tonight, guys. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, exciting to have you on here. Tyler, I'll start with you here. How's things been here for you in Lincoln? I don't think fans have had a ton of opportunity to maybe hear from you, maybe a few autograph signings, but how's it been here since joining the Stars from Muskegon?
Yeah, no, things have been great here so far. I've loved every minute.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be interesting for you. 3 years in Muskegon, and then you come to the Stars. Rocky touched on it a little bit. You had a good relationship with your billets there, good situation. When the news came that you were traded, what was your reaction? Because I imagine that's tough, leaving a place you had a bond with.
Yeah, no, it's definitely tough. I mean, it's kind of something where you see the trajectory of the team in Muskegon and, kind of being one of those higher end players, you expect it a little bit. I don't want to say expected, but you kind of understand where they're coming from and kind of understand like that, your spot as a player doesn't quite fit the trajectory of the team currently. So it was definitely, some, I don't want to say tough news, but it was just a little bit of a shock, and kind of just having to uproot everything and, move so quickly was tough.
Definitely different. Adam, what's it been like having Tyler added to this team? He and Guillermo Yavash, the two big trades for the season.
It really helps out our D-core, just getting another left-handed shot, a veteran in the league who can help us win games, and just off the ice, he's just a chill person that he just fits in the locker room.
That's what Rocky was saying. He said pretty much day one, everything fit in. I imagine that helps having some experience in junior hockey, going into a new locker room and knowing, I don't really have to, what to expect, so to speak, at that point.
Right. Yeah, for sure. There's also, I haven't had to come to a new team in
that too. Yeah. That's
3 years. So it's definitely a new experience there. But I think the transition's been pretty easily, and the guys are great. Like, get along with everyone. So no complaints so far.
A couple of big games coming up this weekend for you guys. Sioux City on Friday, expecting a big crowd for that. One's going to be $2 night at the Icebox. And then Saturday, a game that really doesn't need a lot of billing, Waterloo coming to town. Adam, this past Saturday was the first of 4 consecutive home games for you guys. How exciting is that to have some of these games coming up against some big opponents here in Lincoln?
It's really exciting. Anytime you get to play at the Icebox, it's just super special. And with the college guys coming out, and then this Friday night's game should be some big crowds, and it'll be a good night to hopefully get a win.
You guys have seen the transactions over the last couple of weeks. You've seen how busy Waterloo's been. How exciting is that to get a chance to kind of take a punch at them yourselves here and try and see what you guys do and see where you match up against them here this Saturday? What does that mean?
Yeah, no, I think it speaks volumes to the confidence that we have in this team. Just kind of not making, as many moves as those other teams shows that we are really happy with what we have here and think we have a good chance to, go as far as the Clark Cup and hopefully take a stab at it and win it here.
And Adam, you've seen Waterloo against the Stars this season. It's been a tough opponent for Lincoln this year. You guys taking them on. What are some of the keys to maybe beating the Blackhawks this weekend at home?
I think, all our 3 games against them have been away, and it's pretty challenging playing at their rink. It's a good crowd there. It's an Olympic-sized rink, so it's a little bit of adjustment. I'm just excited that we get to have them in the box and hopefully get a good crack at them, and I think our chances will be really good.
And before that, Sioux City comes to town this coming Friday. You guys saw them a few weeks ago on a Sunday, and that was tough because I was coming right back from Fargo. Afternoon game shortly after that. What do you think gives you confidence we're going to bounce back coming Friday, Tyler?
I think you don't want to make excuses, but they caught us on the tail end of a tough weekend, and I think that's going to fire us up even more here this weekend to really want to get back after, not a great performance from us. And I think that, everyone's just ready to jump the gun and get started here and kind of prepare for the week against Waterloo. Like it's steps kind of building up to that ultimate goal. And this week it's going to be to beat Waterloo.
For me, it's really interesting, guys, because there were so many games in February, and it was a lot. It had that pro feel to it in a lot of ways with how many games there were. I mean, beyond a pro level, having 3 hockey games in 3 days, I would say. But my point being that with so many games, it was pretty much just getting locked in for the next one. There wasn't as much time to do other things in between. I think the coaching staff did a great job of managing the fatigue and giving you guys plenty of rest. But Adam, is it a case like this where you guys are in this little slide right now? Are you almost more anxious to get back onto the ice because of that? And also because you've been playing well. It's just been couple of bad minutes each night and just a few bad hops that have really led to this tough stretch as of late.
Yeah, I think whenever you're in a bit of a slump, you're always itching to get back to the next game. And I think it was good for us to get some time off this week and just regroup, and then it's allowing us to be fresh for this upcoming weekend.
And how nice is it to kind of get the rhythm reestablished, so to speak, of that? We've got games Friday, Saturday, the rest of the week. We can kind of get back to doing what we're used to doing, kind of what you were used to before February.
Yeah, it just allows for the week to be a little bit normal, get a good normal practice week. Mondays are tougher, and then you build up to the weekend. So it's just pretty consistent.
And Tyler, you pretty much jumped into this team right in the middle of this crazy stretch. You jump aboard, things are pretty hectic. How nice is this for you to get a chance to get used to the rhythm of the team?
Yeah, no, it's definitely, nice here to have a little bit easier schedule, kind of having that ability to do more things as a team and, create those bonds a little bit more. But overall, it's been nice to play so many games and kind of get into it pretty quickly. So there's really no time to kind of take it easy and have that, easy transition. Like it's right into it and kind of we're going, because February was a tough month for games.
I imagine for you, having this many games was helpful with jumping onto a new team and getting that chemistry immediately, because sometimes that can be a process.
Yeah, for sure. It can definitely be a process, but it's pretty simple. The easiest way to build chemistry is to play games. So built a lot of chemistry pretty quickly here.
Adam, first junior league season for you at 16, youngest player on the team. It's a lot of hockey. How have you been managing your fatigue over the last few weeks with all these games?
Yeah, it's been a long season. We're in the dog days, I'd say, in February, so it's pretty hard. Nothing I've ever been used to, playing 62 games. I think last year I only played 31 games for the or 28 for the high school season. So this is a new challenge, and I think just making sure that you're invested in your rest and recovery, just getting good sleep, eating good food is most important.
What have you enjoyed about the USHL grind and the schedule and the season compared to what you were doing a year ago?
Just the development, just working out, being on the ice all the time. It's just, if you want to play at the higher level, this is what you need. And, I love it. You're just getting better. And even though it may be hard, it's for the best interest in you.
Tyler, hearing that, I imagine you probably think back to your first year and you think, well, that was a big step forward for me in my development. How good has it been for you to do this? You're 3 years into your USHL career at this point.
Yeah, no, in the beginning, it's definitely tough. It's no easy thing to jump into this league as a 16-year-old. It's the best league in the United States. And, a lot of good players come through this league and stay for a while. So you're going up against the best competition every night, and it's pretty hard to not get better when that's the case.
You've got a commitment to Colorado College right now coming up. What motivates you at this point in year 3, where you've been doing it? You feel like you probably know the league pretty well at this point, but what motivates you with knowing I do have that college commitment coming up as well?
Yeah, no, it's nice to know that at the end of the season I have, a great home for the next 4 years, and it's somewhere where I'm excited to play. And I just really love the coaching staff and kind of everything they're doing there. And I really see a lot of potential in the program, and you see the steps now, like where they were and, where they're trying to be is, exactly what I'm looking for. And I really just think it's the perfect fit, and I'm very excited.
We're chatting Lincoln Stars hockey here on 93.7 The Ticket. Of course, our show always being brought to you by Raising Cane's. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have more. This is 93.7 The Ticket.
I know that a lot of times, Mom, it might not seem like I'm listening to you, but I am. I hear you. It really does matter to me.
I mean, let's be honest. Likes rules. I get why we have them. I hear you, and I know it's because you care.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and drugs, visit underage.samhsa.
The HHS and with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite was announced a tour. My phone was crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then someone started calling me and
Try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive to stress.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here. I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe. And as a legacy.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Mario fue pintor más de 30 años. Cuando me dijo que se le estaban olvidando las cosas, fue difícil. Un día me dijeron que pintara el marco del lado por dentro y pinté el lado de afuera.
Yo le diría a la gente que le diga a su familia lo que está pasando con él.
Si algo se nota diferente, podría ser Alzheimer. Es momento de hablarlo. Visita alz.org/nuestras historias para saber más. Un mensaje de The Alzheimer's Association y The Ad Council.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Meeting your goal of having a healthy diet has never been easier than with the Bring It Home Healthy Living subscription. That are health conscious, delivered right to your door every week. All you have to do is heat. We offer delicious entrees, gluten-free pastas, fresh rice bowls, soups, salads, and more. Build your own package as a subscription to receive meals every week to help you meet your dietary goals. Order your custom healthy meal package today at home.net.
Finally, a reason to have us. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? He knows. Don't ask questions. The Ticket Water Cooler with Jake Bachhoven and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
I do know the halftime entertainment.
Oh, the halftime! That's right. Red Panda's in town. Yeah, the best halftime performer in the nation. The guy that stands on chairs.
That one terrifies me.
That one I don't like.
That one scares me.
Just remember at the Bob Devaney Sports Center, for some reason it was just always kids getting in overdressed like Husker stuff and racing down the court. Like that was the go-to. That's all they really had. It's what's funnier than kids in oversized clothing? That's
Perfect.
Hilarious every time. Let's do it again.
It's time outside the box with Lincoln Stars head coach Rocky Russo and Lincoln Stars broadcaster Joel Norman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back again here on Outside the Box, being brought to you by Raising Cane's. I'm Joel Norman, and we're joined by, of course, by defenseman Adam Kleber and Tyler Dunbar here on the shows. We talked about a couple of huge games coming up for the Stars this weekend. Friday is $2 night at the Icebox. You can get popcorn, hot dogs, PBR, Busch Light, and mini margs for that one, all for $2 a piece. And then on Saturday, a matchup with the Waterloo Blackhawks. First time that they'll be here since the postseason from last year. And guys, we were talking a little bit about a little stuff off of the ice a little bit. Tyler, obviously being a newcomer here, how much have you had a chance to explore Lincoln in your time here? Have you had a chance to have the guys showing you some of the staples that they've gone to for food and whatnot?
Yeah, no, I've definitely seen a lot of the restaurants so far. A couple good ones around here. Back in Muskegon, there weren't a ton of good ones, so it's been nice to be able to go out and eat every once in a while. But yeah, no, definitely some good ones around here.
What's been a go-to for you so far? What's your favorite?
I like to keep it simple. Like I'll go to Chipotle every once in a while. That's kind of my pregame meal. But I'm also a big fan of, Bagels and Joe is a good one. And then Blaze Pizza is a good one as well. Kind of wherever we go, Agave is very good. But wherever we go, I'm pretty happy.
Adam, how about you? You've had pretty much a full season here at this point. You've got some places you've really enjoyed going.
Yeah, I like Mr. Huey's, Kasumi, and Agave. Those are probably my top 3 right now.
Okay, I found Agave. That sounds. What's the first one? What is that place?
Mr. Huey's. It's a Chinese place. Excellent crab ragoons.
So there was a funny thing. Our front office, we were having this debate a few weeks ago. Tina's Cafe was catering a pregame meal, and they include this like crab rangoon dip. And a lot of people were turned off by that. And I was like, who doesn't like crab rangoons, right? So I was surprised. So I'm glad to hear you're a big fan of them as well then.
Yeah, I've never really been a Chinese person because my mom, she doesn't really like the food. She says it smells bad. So this is probably the first year that I've had Chinese food, and I've never had crab ragoons before, and they're pretty good. So
pretty solid.
Yeah.
Well, you get outside the house, you explore some stuff a little bit,
Right,
as you certainly see. How about you, Tyler? Are you a Chinese fan at all?
Yeah, no, I'm a supporter of the crab ragoons at Mr. Huey's as well. So
Okay, I'll have to try this place out. I've been looking for a Chinese place in Lincoln. So
yeah, no, it's good. I can't usually eat more than 2, but it's worth it.
pretty solid stuff either way. Guys, I want to talk back about this past stretch here for you guys. We were talking about this with Rocky before. It feels like a lot of in the 6-game stretch of the losses, it feels like a lot has been done right, but there's just been a couple stretches or a funky bounce that changes the course of the game. With that in mind, how do you prepare for your next opponent, knowing you're kind of that? Maybe you have to limit that one extra bounce or this minute or two bad stretch. What are some of the adjustments you're making heading into this weekend?
Probably just simplicity, because we've been getting a lot of shots in the previous games, and I think just we have a lot of offensive zone time, but then sometimes the other teams get a lucky bounce or a lucky break, and then they score. So we just got to keep it simple and stick to a simple game plan.
And as defensemen for both of you, I imagine that's something that's constantly preached, whether you're up or you're down. It's just the simplicity. Tyler, in cases like this, what are some other things with being simple? Break that down a little bit further. Is that maybe, chipping the puck ahead when something's not developing, hitting the open man? What is that exactly?
Yeah, no, simplicity in this situation is just kind of, I would say it's more just like not forcing anything. Like in our situation right now, there've been a lot of unlucky scenarios, but when you're kind of in a slump, you kind of have to make your own luck. So I think a little bit of that simplicity is not, holding onto your stick a little bit too tight, or like trying to do a little too much. It's kind of just, trusting kind of what you feel, and making the simple play in your mind and not really overcomplicating things.
One other thing I wanted to ask you about while I was thinking about it, Tyler, you spent a lot of work on this second power play unit as of late. That's a 3-defenseman power play where typically it's had you, Henry Nelson, and Cole Krusberg-Rosine on it. Have you had many instances where you've worked on a power play unit like that before?
No, not particularly, but I think coaches are finally figuring out that the defensemen are the most skilled on the team, so they're taking notes.
So there you go. What's that been like? Is that something where you guys have to really communicate with each other because you're not used to a setup like that, or defining what each person's role is in it, I imagine?
A little bit, yes, but for the majority of us, we've all played in those spots, kind of in that power play, so it's been relatively easy for us to kind of interchange with each other if something happens or anything like that. So honestly, it hasn't been too hard, and that's really good to say with the players. So I'm very happy with how it's been going so far.
Not a lot of complaints of this power play in recent weeks either, the way it's been clicking first and second unit. Adam, in recent weeks, you guys have changed up the defensive lines a lot, but for the bulk of this season, you've really been paired primarily with Boston Buckberger for the most part, I would say. What's that been like working with him? Another guy who's a veteran of junior hockey, and I imagine it's been a guy you enjoy working with, and you probably learned a lot from him as well.
Yeah, just playing with him, just watching him every day. There's a lot to learn from him. He's an easy defenseman to play with. Just he's always reliable defensively, and he's just creating offense. So he's a fun player to play with for sure.
What's that like for you when you have to adjust with different pairings? Was that something you dealt with before at different levels of hockey? Because I imagine that brings its own challenges.
Yeah, I think younger hockey, you're always just put with different people. I think it's nothing new this year to adjust to new people. I think I've always played with different people when I was younger. So, I mean, in hockey, it's a simple game, so you don't really have to put too much thought into who you're with.
And Tyler, is that the case for you? Does much change on a night to night, regardless of who you're paired with?
Yeah, no, not a ton changes. I mean, everyone's a good player in this league, so it's everyone has a little different play styles as well. So there's a little bit of change, but for the most part, you just kind of have to trust your partner and make plays based off that, which hasn't been a problem so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to you guys making some plays this week, and good luck against Sioux City and Waterloo. Let's go get 4 points.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Adam Kleber and Tyler Dunbar joining us. I'm Joel Norman. As we mentioned, 2 games at home this weekend for the Stars, Friday and Saturday. Thanks for tuning in once again. This has been Outside the Box, being brought to you by Raising Cane's on 93.7 The Ticket.